The interstellar council chamber hummed with an electric tension that predated even the oldest civilizations in the known galaxy. Holographic displays flickered with the gathered representatives of over 200 sentient species, each more exotic and ancient than the last. Crystalline beings that communicated through light pulses sat alongside gaseous entities contained in intricate environmental suits. Silicon-based life forms with geometric bodies contrasted with fluid, almost liquid creatures that shifted and reshaped themselves continuously. And then there was Jack Rayleigh, humanity's ambassador, a stark, almost primitive presence among these advanced beings. Zarek of the Krylonian Empire rose to speak, his translucent body catching and refracting the chamber's ambient light. Multiple sets of eyes, some organic, some mechanical, some a bizarre hybrid of both, focused on the alien diplomat. His voice, translated through a complex network of quantum linguistical adapters, dripped with a contempt that transcended verbal communication. Distinguished members of the Galactic Confederation, Zarek began, his tendrils undulating with practiced dramatic flair. We gather today to discuss a matter of fundamental cosmic security. The species known as humans continue to demonstrate a level of technological immaturity that borders on the dangerous. Jack Rayleigh remained motionless, his tailored diplomatic suit a sharp contrast to the bizarre and elaborate attire of the other representatives. Years of diplomatic training had taught him the art of maintaining composure under the most extreme provocation. Zarek continued, holographic representations materializing behind him. Images of human settlements flickered, primitive space stations, rudimentary colony efforts, mining operations that looked like children's toys compared to the advanced infrastructures of other galactic species. Their attempts at interstellar expansion are nothing short of laughable. Consider their most advanced space vessel, the ISS Horizon, a craft so primitive that our maintenance drones would consider it an insult to repair. Ripples of subdued laughter, some electronic, some biological, some a strange combination of both, swept through the chamber. Ambassadors from the Tristellar Confederacy and the Quantum Nexus exchanged knowing glances. The archons of the Crystalline Concordat seemed to shimmer with barely contained derision. Jack knew the statistics by heart. Humanity had only been classified as a spacefaring civilization for barely 3 decades. Their first faster-than-light drive had been developed less than 20 years ago, a technological leap that had taken most species centuries to achieve. But potential meant nothing in the face of established galactic powers. Their defensive capabilities are non-existent, Zarek proclaimed, bringing up a tactical overlay that showed human colonies as vulnerable red dots surrounded by vast swaths of potentially hostile space. Multiple independent assessments confirm that any moderately advanced species could overwhelm human territories in less than 72 standard galactic hours. What Zarek didn't know, what none of them knew, was that beneath the Rocky Mountains, a project was taking shape that would challenge everything they believed about human potential. The Krylonians' final words rang through the chamber. Humans are a threat not through their capabilities, but through their unpredictability. They are children playing with technologies they cannot possibly understand, risking the stability of entire galactic sectors through their reckless curiosity. Jack Rayleigh allowed himself the slightest smile. Let them talk, he thought. Let them believe they understand humanity. As the session continued, none of the assembled beings noticed the subtle quantum encryption package Jack had introduced into the Council's communication network. None saw the microscopic data packages being transmitted, each one a tiny piece of a much larger puzzle. The Interstellar Council continued its session, confident in the established order of galactic civilization. Confident that species were easily categorized, easily understood. Confident that humanity was nothing more than a minor, inconsequential footnote in the grand cosmic narrative. They were wrong. The research facility carved into the heart of the Rocky Mountains was more than just a secret military installation. It was a testament to humanity's most audacious technological ambitions, a cathedral of innovation hidden from both alien eyes and most of humanity itself. Dr. Michael Thompson stood before a massive holographic display, his weathered hands moving with the precision of a concert pianist. Each gesture manipulated complex quantum interfaces that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. Around him, a team of the world's most brilliant minds worked in a synchronized dance of creation that defied conventional understanding. "Run Simulation 7 Delta again," Thompson commanded, his voice cutting through the low hum of advanced computing systems. Hundreds of holographic projections flickered to life, showing potential configurations of what would become known as the Titan-class warship. The project had begun as a whisper, a desperate response to humanity's vulnerable position in the galactic landscape. Every component was a hard-won victory: stolen alien technologies, reverse-engineered breakthroughs, and original innovations that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Sarah Rodriguez, the project's lead quantum engineer, approached with a data crystal. "Sir, we've achieved a breakthrough in adaptive metallurgy that might solve our primary structural integrity issue." Her eyes burned with the same fierce determination that drove the entire team. Thompson studied the data, his mind racing through multiple potential scenarios. The Titan was more than just a warship. It was humanity's insurance policy, its declaration of potential, its middle finger to the galactic powers that had dismissed them as irrelevant. The facility itself was a marvel of human engineering. Spread across multiple underground levels, it utilized a quantum-shielded communication network that made traditional encryption look like children's code. Massive cooling systems maintained temperatures that would allow the most advanced computing systems to operate at peak efficiency. The primary challenge, Thompson explained to a holographic recording he would later encrypt and distribute to key military strategists, is creating a vessel that can not just survive, but dominate in an environment where we are considered technologically inferior. Each section of the Titan represented a different approach to solving fundamental spacefaring challenges. The propulsion system alone was a masterpiece of quantum mechanics and theoretical physics that would have earned multiple Nobel Prizes if anyone outside the facility were allowed to know about it. Dr. Elena Martinez, the project's xenotechnology specialist, had spent years studying captured alien technologies. Her team had reverse-engineered defensive systems from 3 different galactic civilizations, combining them in ways their original creators would have considered impossible. "We're not just copying," she often told her team. "We're reimagining. We're taking their technologies and showing them what human creativity can do." The adaptive hull material was particularly revolutionary. Composed of nanomechanical structures that could reconfigure themselves in milliseconds, it could shift from ultra-dense armor to near-transparent stealth coating faster than most species could comprehend a threat. A alert chimed softly. Thompson's secondary display showed the latest global funding allocation for the project. A black budget that drew from multiple international sources, carefully hidden from both terrestrial and extraterrestrial observation. "We're close," he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else in the room. The holographic model of the Titan pulsed with potential, a living blueprint of humanity's most ambitious military project. Sarah Rodriguez approached with another data set. "The quantum computing core is showing stability at 99.997%, she reported. "The AI integration is, well, it's unlike anything we've ever seen." The artificial intelligence that would control the Titan was perhaps the project's most closely guarded secret. Unlike traditional AI systems, this was a quantum-entangled neural network that could process tactical scenarios across multiple potential futures simultaneously. Thompson knew they were creating more than a warship. They were creating a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be overlooked, would not be dismissed. As the day's simulation ended, the holographic Titan model hung in the air, sleek, predatory, unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. It was more than metal and circuitry. It was hope forged into a weapon of unprecedented potential. Humanity was ready to show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The Outer Reach colonies had always been humanity's most vulnerable frontier. Scattered across 3 star systems, these settlements represented humanity's first true test of interstellar colonization. Mineral-rich planets with harsh environments had been transformed through decades of human determination. Terraforming projects that turned toxic atmospheres into breathable air, converting barren rock into potentially sustainable ecosystems. Commander Amanda Rodriguez studied the tactical displays in the primary defense control center of New Providence, the largest settlement in the Kepler 452 system. Her fingers traced the holographic representation of the colony's defensive grid, a network of satellites, ground-based defense platforms, and automated response systems that looked pathetically inadequate compared to the incoming threat. The quantum communication network buzzed with encrypted warnings. Intelligence reports had been predicting this moment for months. The Krylonian fleet was coming, and they were coming with a level of firepower that would make most species simply surrender. Incoming quantum signatures, Lieutenant Marcus Chen called out, his voice steady despite the imminent threat. Multiple contact points. Counting. 17 capital ships, 43 support vessels. Configuration matches standard Krylonian punitive expedition loadout. Amanda knew what that meant. This wasn't an invasion. This was a message. A demonstration of galactic power designed to crush human resistance before it could truly begin. The first quantum ruptures appeared at the system's edge. Space itself seemed to tear open, revealing massive Krylonian battlecruisers that defied conventional understanding of ship design. Each vessel was a kilometer long, constructed from materials that could absorb and redirect energy in ways that made traditional weapons look like primitive toys. Defensive systems online, Marcus reported. Targeting algorithms initializing. But something was different this time. The colony's defense systems hummed with an unexpected complexity that made the incoming alien ships pause, just for a moment. That moment would change everything. Ground-based defense platforms came to life, their quantum-linked targeting systems moving with a precision that seemed almost alive. Unlike previous human defensive technologies, these systems didn't just track targets. They predicted, they adapted, they learned. In the command center, Amanda watched as the first wave of Krylonian attack drones approached. Conventional military doctrine suggested the colony should already be preparing for total evacuation. The incoming firepower was sufficient to glass entire planetary surfaces. Incoming transmission. A communications officer announced. Krylonian Standard Challenge Protocol. The holographic display flickered, revealing a Krylonian fleet commander. Its body was a complex arrangement of crystalline structures that shifted and moved with an unsettling intelligence. When it spoke, the translation system struggled to capture the full complexity of its communication. Humans of New Providence Colony. The translation came through. You are hereby ordered to surrender. Resistance is mathematically improbable. Your defensive capabilities are inferior by no less than 7,342 documented technological metrics. Amanda allowed herself the slightest smile. Not today, she muttered. The first wave of Krylonian weapons discharge lit up the space around New Providence. Energy weapons that could slice through battleship hulls like paper targeted the colony's defensive platforms. Quantum disruption missiles prepared to shred electronic systems. But the defense grid did something unexpected. It adapted. Each incoming weapon was met with a counter-frequency that not only neutralized the threat but seemed to learn from it. Defensive satellites repositioned with a fluidity that defied traditional combat algorithms. Ground-based platforms shifted their quantum-linked defensive fields, creating interference patterns that confused and deflected incoming attacks. The Krylonian fleet commander's crystalline body seemed to shimmer with confusion. These were not the primitive human defenses they had studied. These were not the weak colonial systems they had expected to obliterate in moments. Something had changed. In the command center, Amanda Rodriguez watched the tactical displays with a calm that bordered on anticipation. The colony's defensive systems were performing beyond any projected model. Each second of resistance was a victory. And then something even more unexpected happened. A quantum signature unlike anything the Krylonian fleet had ever encountered began to materialize in the system's orbital space. The U.S. Titan was about to make its first appearance. Space itself seemed to fold and ripple, a quantum distortion that defied every known law of physics. The U.S. Titan materialized with a silence that was somehow more terrifying than any explosive entrance. Its hull was a nightmare of adaptive metallurgy. Surfaces that shifted and responded like living tissue, weapon ports that appeared and disappeared like quantum phantoms. Captain David Calloway stood on the bridge, his posture relaxed, but his eyes razor-sharp. Around him, the ship's command crew moved with a synchronicity that bordered on the supernatural. Each station was a marvel of human engineering, quantum interfaces that seemed to anticipate commands before they were even fully formed in the operators' minds. Tactical assessment. Calloway commanded, his voice cutting through the low hum of the ship's advanced systems. Lieutenant Sarah Chen's fingers danced across her interface. Holographic displays erupted around her, each one a complex web of potential scenarios, predictive combat algorithms, and real-time tactical analysis. Krylonian fleet composition. 17 capital ships, 43 support vessels. Total estimated combat potential. 99.8 standard galactic combat units. The bridge crew knew what that meant. On any standard metric, they were severely outgunned. But the Titan was anything but standard. The ship's quantum neural network, an artificial intelligence that defied traditional understanding, had already begun its analysis. Millions of potential combat scenarios were being calculated, evaluated, and refined in the time it took a human to draw a breath. Adaptive camouflage at maximum efficiency, reported Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez from the Defensive Systems Station. The Titan's hull began to shift, its surface taking on the exact quantum signature of the surrounding space. To any external sensor, the ship would appear as nothing more than a subtle distortion, if it was visible at all. Captain Calloway allowed himself the slightest smile. "All systems engage," he said. "Let's teach them what humanity really means." The first indication the Krylonian fleet had of the Titan's presence was a quantum disruption that caused their primary sensor arrays to collapse. It wasn't an attack. Not exactly. It was more like the ship had simply rewritten the fundamental rules of how sensors could function. Weapon systems that had been primed to obliterate the human colony suddenly found themselves targeting empty space. Communication networks collapsed. Navigation systems went dark. On the Krylonian flagship, the fleet commander's crystalline body pulsed with confusion. These were not the primitive defensive tactics they had expected. This was something entirely different. The Titan moved with a grace that defied physical laws. A dance of destruction, choreographed by the most advanced artificial intelligence ever conceived. Its weapon systems were nothing like traditional space combat technology. Quantum-entangled projectiles erupted from ports that seemed to materialize out of nowhere, each one calculating multiple probabilistic attack vectors simultaneously. Adaptive firing solution engaged, Sarah Chen reported. The ship's weapons didn't just fire. They learned. Each projectile contained a complex quantum computing matrix that could adjust its trajectory, energy output, and fundamental interaction with matter in real time. The first Krylonian support vessel simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, a massive construct of advanced alien technology. The next, it was nothing more than subatomic particles dispersing into space. Structural integrity of target, 0. The ship's AI reported in a voice that was neither male nor female, neither human nor machine. Captain Calloway watched the tactical display. The Krylonian fleet was beginning to realize they were facing something completely beyond their comprehension. Ships began to break formation, a move that would have been considered tactical suicide in any previous engagement. "They're adapting," Marcus Rodriguez called out. "But we're adapting faster." The Titan's defensive systems were equally revolutionary. Incoming weapon fire didn't just get blocked or absorbed. The ship's adaptive hull actually studied each attack, learned from it, and developed counter-frequencies in microseconds. Energy weapons that could slice through battleship hulls were redirected, their own energy turned against them. Space around the Titan began to look like a complex, three-dimensional chess match. But this was a game where humanity was rewriting the rules with each passing moment. Tactical assessment, Captain Calloway asked again, though he already knew the answer. Sarah Chen's response was simple. We're winning. The battle unfolded like a quantum symphony. Each movement of the U.S. Titan, a complex algorithm of destruction that defied conventional understanding of space combat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's chief technology officer, watched the tactical displays with an almost scientific detachment. Every second provided new data, new insights into the absolute cutting edge of human technological innovation. Quantum entanglement weapons are performing at 99.7% efficiency, she reported, her voice calm despite the cosmic warfare unfolding around them. The ship's weapon systems were unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Projectiles that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, capable of striking targets before the targets even realized they were under attack. The Krylonian fleet found themselves fighting an enemy that rewrote the rules of warfare with each passing moment. Their most advanced calculations crumbled against humanity's unpredictable innovation. Defensive systems that had been developed over millennia became obsolete in mere minutes. Lieutenant Marcus Chen managed the ship's adaptive interface, his hands moving in intricate patterns that seemed to merge human intuition with machine precision. The Titan's central AI processed combat scenarios at speeds that would have fried the neural networks of most advanced civilizations. Incoming quantum disruption wave, Chen called out. Most ships would have been crippled by such an attack. The Titan simply absorbed the energy, its adaptive hull not just blocking the assault, but actually learning from it. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up a holographic display showing the progressive analysis. Look at this, she said to Captain Calloway. The ship is rewriting its own defensive protocols in real time. Each attack teaches the system something new. The Krylonian fleet's initial confidence had transformed into something closer to existential terror. Their most advanced battlecruisers, vessels that had conquered entire star systems, were being systematically dismantled with a precision that bordered on the surgical. One of the Krylonian capital ships attempted to deploy its ultimate defensive mechanism, a quantum phase shield that had been impenetrable in every previous engagement. The Titan's weapons didn't just penetrate the shield. They deconstructed it, analyzing its quantum signature and creating a counter-frequency that essentially erased the defensive technology. Shield neutralization complete, the ship's AI reported. Targeting primary power systems. Captain David Calloway observed the tactical display with a calm that seemed almost supernatural. This wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration, a clear message to the galaxy about humanity's true potential. The ship's weaponry defied traditional understanding. Quantum-entangled projectiles could strike multiple targets simultaneously, existing in a state of potential until the moment of impact. Energy weapons adapted their frequency faster than most species could comprehend a threat, rendering traditional defensive technologies obsolete. Adaptive targeting is showing some interesting anomalies, Dr. Rodriguez noted. The ship's weapons were learning, evolving with each engagement. What worked against one Krylonian vessel would be subtly different from the approach used against another. Lieutenant Sarah Chen managed the defensive systems, her fingers dancing across interfaces that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. Hull integrity at 99.4%, she reported. Incoming weapon signatures are being absorbed and redistributed at maximum efficiency. The Krylonian fleet's communication networks began to collapse. Their quantum-encrypted channels were being systematically dismantled, their tactical information turned against them. It was as if the Titan was reading their strategic intentions before they could even formulate them. They're trying to establish a quantum retreat corridor, Marcus Chen observed. The Krylonian ships were attempting to create a faster-than-light escape route, a maneuver that had saved them in countless previous conflicts. The Titan's response was instantaneous. Multiple quantum disruption fields materialized, creating a complex interference pattern that made faster-than-light travel impossible within the entire combat zone. Dr. Rodriguez couldn't help but smile. "We're not just fighting," she said quietly. "We're teaching them a lesson." Captain Calloway nodded. This was more than a military engagement. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy, a statement that they were no longer to be underestimated. The battle continued, each moment revealing new layers of technological superiority that would reshape galactic understanding of warfare. The Titan moved through space like a predator, calculating, learning, destroying. And the Krylonian fleet could only watch in horror as their entire military doctrine was systematically dismantled. Ambassador Zarek's multifaceted crystalline body pulsed with a frequency that translated to pure terror. The quantum communication channels of the Krylonian flagship were collapsing faster than their tactical systems could comprehend. Everything they understood about warfare, about technological superiority, was being systematically dismantled by a single human vessel. "Impossible," he muttered, though the translation systems barely captured the complexity of the Krylonian language. The holographic displays around him flickered with cascading system failures, each breakdown a testament to the U.S. Titan's unprecedented technological capabilities. Fleet Commander Vexnar, the most decorated military strategist in Krylonian history, watched in silent horror. His neural implants, which had processed countless battle scenarios across multiple star systems, were experiencing something entirely new: total systemic failure. The Titan cut through the Krylonian fleet like a quantum blade through quantum butter. Its movement defied every known principle of space combat. Ships that should have been invincible simply ceased to exist, their complex defensive systems unraveled by technologies that seemed to rewrite the fundamental laws of physics. "Tactical analysis is impossible," one of the bridge officers reported, his crystalline appendages trembling. The ship's advanced computing systems were being overwhelmed, not by brute force, but by a level of adaptive intelligence that seemed almost sentient. Zarek remembered his speech at the Interstellar Council. His mockery of human capabilities now felt like the most catastrophic miscalculation in galactic history. Humanity had not just developed a warship. They had created something that challenged the very concept of technological limitation. The Titan's weapons were beyond comprehension. Quantum-entangled projectiles that could exist in multiple states simultaneously. Defensive systems that didn't just block attacks but learned from them, adapted to them, neutralized them before they could even be fully formed. "We cannot compute," Vexnar said, his voice a complex harmonic that translated to a mixture of professional assessment and profound psychological shock. "The human vessel is generating combat scenarios faster than our most advanced predictive matrices can process." Entire squadrons of Krylonian ships were being systematically dismantled, not destroyed, dismantled. Each vessel was being taken apart with a surgical precision that suggested the Titan wasn't just fighting. It was studying, learning. The quantum communication networks collapsed. Tactical information became a rapidly fragmenting nightmare. The Krylonians watched as their most advanced technologies were turned against them, their defensive systems rewritten and neutralized faster than they could even recognize the threat. How? Zarek's communication burst carried a frequency of pure disbelief. How is this possible? The answer was simple, though it would take the Krylonians years to truly understand. Humanity had done something no other species had managed. They had created a weapon system that was more than a technological marvel. It was a living, learning entity that combined human creativity with quantum computational capabilities. On the Titan's bridge, Captain David Calloway watched the tactical displays with a calm that bordered on the scientific. This was more than a battle. This was a demonstration, a clear message to the galaxy about humanity's true potential. Adaptive targeting at maximum efficiency, Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported. The ship's weapons were learning with each engagement, each attack becoming more precise, more unpredictable. The Krylonian flagship's defensive systems began to fail in cascading sequences. Quantum shields that had been impenetrable in thousands of previous conflicts simply dissolved. Energy redirection systems became conduits for their own destruction. Vexnar's neural implants began to overload. The tactical complexity was beyond anything the Krylonian military had ever encountered. It wasn't just that the human vessel was winning. It was systematically deconstructing everything they believed about warfare, about technology, about the fundamental nature of combat. "We cannot retreat," another bridge officer reported. The Titan had created a quantum interference field that made faster-than-light travel impossible within the entire combat zone. The Krylonian fleet was trapped, utterly and completely. Ambassador Zarek realized the true magnitude of their miscalculation. Humanity was not just another species to be dismissed. They were a force that would fundamentally reshape galactic understanding. The U.S. Titan moved through space like a predator, calculating, learning, destroying, and the Krylonian fleet could only watch in absolute, complete horror. The aftermath of the battle rippled across the galaxy faster than any faster-than-light communication system could transmit. Quantum information networks lit up with encrypted transmissions, each one carrying fragments of what would become the most significant military engagement in recent galactic history. The Interstellar Council chamber fell silent when the first reports came through. Ambassador Jack Riley watched as the holographic displays filled with the wreckage of the Krylonian fleet, a scene of total, absolute devastation that defied every previous understanding of space combat. 17 capital ships, muttered the Arcturian representative, his multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession. 43 support vessels, completely neutralized by a single human vessel. The implications were staggering. The Krylonian Empire had been considered the most technologically advanced military force in the known galaxy for over 3 centuries. Their punitive expeditions were legendary. Entire civilizations had been brought to their knees with minimal resistance, and now they had been utterly destroyed by humanity. Diplomatic channels that had once dripped with condescension now buzzed with a newfound respect. Species that had spent decades, sometimes centuries, dismissing humanity as a primitive, inconsequential civilization, were rapidly reassessing their stance. The Quantum Nexus representatives began immediate diplomatic protocols. Their quantum-linked communication networks were working overtime, analyzing every scrap of available data about the engagement. What had seemed impossible just hours ago was now undeniable reality. "We require a full tactical analysis," demanded the crystalline Concordat's primary diplomatic node. Its complex crystalline structure pulsed with an energy that translated to pure scientific curiosity. Jack Riley allowed himself the slightest smile. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of galactic engagement. Intelligence reports began to flood in from multiple sources. The U.S. Titan hadn't just won a battle. It had demonstrated a level of technological superiority that challenged every existing military doctrine. The ship's adaptive technologies, its quantum computing capabilities, its ability to learn and respond faster than any known artificial intelligence. These were game changers. Ambassador Zarek, once the most vocal critic of human capabilities, now found himself summoned before the Interstellar Council to provide a detailed report. His crystalline body seemed to have lost its previous luster, the once vibrant energy now dulled by absolute defeat. "The human vessel," he reported, his communication frequencies carrying a mixture of scientific detachment and profound psychological shock, "demonstrates technological capabilities that are beyond our current understanding. Our most advanced defensive systems were neutralized in microseconds. Our tactical algorithms became obsolete the moment they were deployed." The diplomatic landscape was shifting dramatically. Species that had previously formed alliances against potential human expansion now found themselves reassessing their strategies. The Titan represented more than a single warship. It was a clear message about humanity's potential. "We require diplomatic engagement," the Tristellar Confederacy's representative announced. Immediate diplomatic engagement. Jack Riley knew what that meant. Humanity was no longer going to be ignored or dismissed. They were now a major player in galactic politics. Intelligence reports suggested that the Titan's technological capabilities went far beyond what had been demonstrated in the battle. Rumors circulated about quantum computing systems that could process entire battle scenarios in nanoseconds, adaptive technologies that could learn and respond faster than any known artificial intelligence. The economic implications were equally significant. Multiple scientific consortiums were already requesting detailed studies of the technologies demonstrated by the Titan. Patents, research opportunities, technological exchanges. The potential was astronomical. We underestimated them, the Arcturian representative said quietly, a statement that would have been unthinkable just days earlier. Completely and utterly underestimated them. Jack Riley's communication to Earth was brief and to the point. First contact protocols are no longer relevant, he reported. We are now engaging as equals, perhaps even as superiors. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading that change. Diplomatic requests began to pour in. Research proposals, trade negotiations, requests for technological exchanges. The Krylonian defeat had done more than demonstrate military superiority. It had fundamentally reshaped the galactic power structure. Species that had spent centuries looking down on humanity now sought alliance, recognition, and understanding. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The U.S. Titan's return to Earth was anything but a quiet homecoming. As the ship approached the solar system, a massive fleet of human vessels assembled to meet it, a show of solidarity that had never before been witnessed in human history. Military commanders, scientific leaders, and political representatives from every major nation watched with bated breath. Captain David Calloway stood on the bridge, reviewing the mission logs. The ship's quantum neural network had collected petabytes of data during the engagement, information that would reshape human understanding of space combat, technological innovation, and interstellar potential. Dr. Elena Rodriguez approached with a comprehensive analysis. The technological breakthroughs from this single engagement are beyond anything we could have anticipated, she reported. The ship's adaptive systems had learned more in those few hours of combat than most species learned in centuries of technological development. The global reaction was unprecedented. Every major news network, every scientific institution, every military command center was analyzing the battle footage. The destruction of the Krylonian fleet wasn't just a military victory. It was a statement about humanity's potential. At the United Nations Interstellar Command Center, a special session was convened. Holographic displays showed the battle from multiple perspectives, each replay revealing new layers of technological innovation. The Titan had done more than win a battle. It had fundamentally challenged every existing concept of space warfare. We are no longer the species we were yesterday. Secretary General Michael Chen addressed the global audience. His words carried a weight that resonated across every continent, every colony, every human settlement. We have proven that humanity's potential is limited only by our imagination. The scientific implications were staggering. The Titan's quantum computing systems, its adaptive technologies, its ability to learn and respond at speeds that defied conventional understanding. These were breakthroughs that would take decades to fully comprehend. Diplomatic channels from across the galaxy continued to flood in. The Quantum Nexus requested immediate technological exchanges. The Crystalline Concordat proposed joint research initiatives. Even the most technologically advanced species were now viewing humanity with a mixture of respect and carefully concealed fear. Captain Calloway reviewed the personal logs of his crew. Each of them understood the magnitude of what they had accomplished. This wasn't just a military victory. This was humanity's declaration to the universe. Dr. Rodriguez's analysis revealed something even more profound. The Titan's adaptive technologies had potential applications far beyond military use. Medical technologies, environmental restoration, space exploration. The breakthroughs could reshape human civilization itself. The ship's quantum neural network continued to process the battle data. It was learning, evolving, understanding at a level that seemed to blur the line between technology and consciousness. The AI wasn't just a computer system. It was becoming something more. Global celebration erupted. In every major city, in every human colony, people took to the streets. This was more than a military victory. This was a moment of collective human pride, a recognition that they were no longer just observers in the cosmic narrative. Scientific institutions began immediate research initiatives. The technologies demonstrated by the Titan promised to revolutionize everything from space travel to quantum computing. Universities around the world started new research programs, hoping to understand and expand upon the breakthroughs. Captain Calloway looked out at the stars. The universe had just learned a crucial lesson: never underestimate humanity's potential. The military implications were profound. The Krylonian defeat had demonstrated that humanity's true strength lay not in raw technological power, but in its ability to innovate, to adapt, to learn faster than any known species. As the Titan approached Earth's orbital space, a new era began. Humanity was no longer a footnote in the galactic story. They were now a primary author of that narrative. "Prepare for final approach," Calloway commanded. The bridge crew moved with a precision that spoke to their understanding of the moment's significance. Dr. Rodriguez's final report was succinct. "We are not just a spacefaring civilization anymore," she said. "We are a force to be reckoned with." The stars seemed to shimmer with possibility. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again.